Water is always unpredictable and never forgives mistakes. That is why every trip on watercraft turns into a real adventure. In this video, I present to your attention a selection of interesting and unexpected moments involving all kinds of vessels. Enjoy watching. On the 19th of June, 2018, in the Taiwanese port of Kaohsiung, the bulk carrier, China Steel Innovator, collided with the container ship Everladen. The incident occurred during maneuvering. Because of draft-related problems, the vessel could not be stopped despite the dropped anchors and the assistance of tugboats. Both vessels were damaged, but no people were injured. Despite their great experience, captains of large vessels sometimes make mistakes, but even the smallest miscalculations can lead to costly repairs.
Woo! God damn!
It seems that this sailboat was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Fortunately, no one was injured. On narrow sections of rivers, vessel collisions often occur. Thus, on the 25th of April, 2025, on the Long Tao River in Vietnam, the container ship KMTC Surabaya collided with the dry cargo ship Glengyle. The container ship sustained damage to the bow, and the second vessel suffered critical side damage, as a result of which it partially sank. These shots clearly demonstrate how similar the causes of accidents on shipping routes are to those on roads. A car horn can help prevent an accident on the road, but that does not work for large vessels. In this case, warning about the dangerous approach was already too late. Tugboats are necessary to assist ships, but sometimes they become the cause of accidents. This video clearly demonstrates why port workers try to stay away from vessels. A lot of space is required to moor a large vessel, but owners of small boats do not always understand this and leave them in the wrong place. These shots capture the moment the cargo vessel Sierra Guardian collides with another ship. Apparently, the captain of this sailboat had problems controlling the vessel, because how else can this collision with the bridge be explained?
Qué cagada. Qué cagada, qué cagada, qué cagada.
Abandona, abandona, abandona.
Le va a caer en el remolcador, le va a caer en el remolcador, loco. No.
Qué cagada.
Se quedó varado ahí.
¿Sabes qué?
Qué va.
Esto es producto de un imbécil que se lo...
In December 2019, in the port near the island of Cozumel in Mexico. While carrying out docking maneuvers, the cruise liner Carnival Legend struck the bow of the vessel Glory while it was trying to moor. As a result of the collision, the latter had its lower deck destroyed and its stern damaged. These shots capture the moment a huge barge crashes into the protective buffer near the Golden Gate Bridge. It was painful for the owner of this vessel to look at the damage caused by impacts against the beams on the pier. Perhaps this situation will become a lesson for him, and he will leave the boat somewhere else. Just imagine that you are driving a car across a bridge when suddenly a huge vessel crashes into it. That is exactly the situation these people found themselves in. Fortunately, no one was injured. An ordinary trip along the river turned into a real survival quest for these people. But do not worry, they are all right.
Get out! Why is it... Is he okay? Is he okay? Is he still in there? No. Get out of the boat.
Because of the captain's stubborn desire to pass under the bridge, the vessel caused serious damage to the bridge structure. Sometimes, even small collisions lead to incredibly serious consequences, as in this case. During mooring, no one is insured against unpleasant situations, even vessels intended for leisure and entertainment. After the flood, these barges set off on an uncontrolled voyage. Their journey promised to be very long, but a bridge got in the way. It looks like the barges will now have to be sent to the scrapyard. Captains of huge cruise liners find it very difficult to maneuver in such conditions, so unpleasant incidents sometimes happen. During competitions that spectators watch from vessels, athletes have to demonstrate all their professionalism in order to avoid collisions. The loading of containers did not go according to plan. The workers miscalculated the barge's carrying capacity, causing it to list, and the containers ended up in the water. The captain of this enormous vessel was sure that there were no other ships at the pier. That turned out not to be the case, but by then, it was already too late to do anything. The captain decided to demonstrate his skill and turn the vessel by 90 degrees at the pier, but he misjudged the distance to the dock. Now he will have to pay for repairs. The authors of this video watched as a giant vessel slowly turned into a submarine. On the 19th of March, 2018, in the Pakistani port of Karachi, the container ship Tolton collided with the vessel Hamburg Bay at the SAPT terminal. More than 20 containers with cars and other cargo fell into the sea. Fortunately, no one was injured. This collision seems strange because it is hard not to notice the 217-meter ro-ro vessel of Finnlines. These people were unlucky enough to be at sea during a storm, but fortunately, everything ended well. Crew members of large vessels know that dropping anchor is not always easy, but professionals have their own methods for solving this problem. On the 25th of February, 2013, in the Southern Ocean, the Japanese whaling vessel Nishin Maru collided with the tanker Sun Laurel. The incident occurred during an attempt to refuel because Sea Shepherd activists were interfering with the vessel's approach. During the maneuvers, the vessel Nishin Maru also struck the ship Bob Barker. Although cruise liners seem like sturdy ships, they are not always able to avoid serious damage after collisions. After a serious breakdown, the crew of this vessel had no choice but to urgently board lifeboats and watch as it sank to the bottom.
Hej då.
It would seem that nothing foretold trouble, but this boat still managed to get stuck. The yacht captain noticed the reef too late, and now this place has become the place of his mooring. Mooring skill is mandatory for the captain of any vessel, but unfortunately not everyone has it.
Whoa!
When two huge cargo ships meet in one place, a situation like the one in this video can happen. Even if it seems to you that everything is going according to plan, never relax and remember that the situation can change. I think many of you would like to be in the place of these friends and have just as much fun. Thanks to the strong waves, the cars on this ferry received a free washing service. It is frightening to imagine what the passengers of this yacht felt if even the eyewitnesses watched what was happening with anxiety.
Wow. He's coming in low.
Almost went over.
He did.
Wow.
So bad.
I think he stalled out a little bit.
The captain of this boat had to endure a difficult day at sea. Not all vessels can move along a frozen river, but this captain decided to take the risk anyway and came up with his own way to do it. This guy modified his boat, and now it knows how to park on shore next to cars. Why bother with mooring if a bridge holds the boat perfectly well in this place? After such pitching, dinner on the yacht had to be cancelled. The captain of this yacht had to use his vessel as a tugboat. A large wave gave the passengers of this ship unforgettable emotions. This guy came up with a crazy form of entertainment and rode a wave created by a cargo vessel. Without a doubt, this stunt was very dangerous. A professional race in sports boats ended in a high-speed crash. Fortunately, the athlete was not injured. Just look at how synchronously these athletes worked to restore the balance of their sailboat. The yacht captain made a mistake, as a result of which his vessel crashed into a cruise liner. The owner of this boat should have checked how securely it was attached to the trailer. These shots clearly demonstrate that towing a vessel on water is much more difficult than doing the same with a car on the road. Just imagine how upsetting it was for the owner of this luxury yacht to watch it slowly sink into the water. It would seem that the collision had been avoided, but not quite. This guy decided to share the experience of how to stay optimistic in the most unpleasant situations. Fishermen noticed a man in a motorboat who had fallen asleep at the helm while moving at full speed, and they decided to help him. It is good when caring people happen to be nearby in such situations.
Oh my gosh.
This is why the captain of any vessel must calculate speed and distance to the mooring place in advance. But apparently, in this situation, some kind of malfunction was the cause of the collision. These people had no choice but to wait for the boat to completely capsize and for rescuers to arrive. The larger the vessels, the more destructive the consequences of accidents involving them can be. While all the barges were standing neatly waiting for the cargo vessel, one of them decided to set off on an uncontrolled voyage.
Fernando. Chamada geral aí. Chamada geral aqui no 16. Chamada geral, Bertolini, comandante Almir. Vai tirar pra cá.
Just imagine what the workers responsible for checking the reliability of the cables and fastening elements felt at that moment. People on the beach anxiously watched as a small vessel bravely resisted the high waves that were about to topple it onto its side. The owner of this car forgot to put it on the handbrake. This led to the vehicle rolling off the pier, falling onto a small vessel below, and then ending up in the water altogether. This is what happens to moored boats during a storm. These shots perfectly demonstrate what happens if you ignore the vessel's allowable carrying capacity. The crew of this vessel could do nothing but watch as another ship slowly went underwater. Despite the fact that this situation seemed very dangerous, no one was injured. On the 16th of January, 2019, during mooring, the cargo vessel Murueta crashed into a pier in the Colombian port of Barranquilla. As a result of the incident, the port side and the anchor of the ship as well as the pier itself, were damaged. The ferry passengers understood that a collision could no longer be avoided and only worried that it would not end in tragedy. Fortunately, everything turned out fine and no one was injured. I do not know what the captain was thinking when he decided to pass under a bridge on a yacht worth more than 20 million euros.
Slowly, slowly. Hopla.
People watching the luxurious yachts, Riviera and Azimut, accidentally became witnesses to their collision. In May 2022, during a stay in the port of Grand Turk Island, a fire broke out in the exhaust funnel on board the liner Carnival Freedom. At that moment, there were more than 2,500 passengers and 972 crew members on board. The vessel was sent for repairs to Freeport, and the passengers were transferred to Carnival Conquest. This is what happens when an inexperienced captain is at the helm. And that is all from me. If you like this video, do not forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell. For me, your activity is the best reward. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.